Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Braves coming back with a sweep after their tough road trip out west, and it was a fun one considering how it happened. The offense finally woke up, but it was mostly just Marcell Ozuna driving in 4 of the 5 runs, 2 homers. He now leads all of baseball. And then Chris Sale against his former team. You said 5 innings of 1-run ball. I said 7 innings.
6 of 1 run. We were in between.
7 innings of shutout. He goes 6 innings of shutout ball. He was brilliant. I mean, I don't know what else you can say. I was talking last night before the game with Jake about this. It's Chris Sale or Spencer Strider. Like, who would you rather have?
I tweeted this out. It's not even close, quite frankly. Like, a healthy Chris Sale, purely based on like past experiences. I mean, Spencer Strider's future is obviously very bright, even despite this setback of the elbow injury and surgery. But if you're talking just both healthy, both going into the postseason, I don't know how you could argue Spencer Strider based on what Chris Sale is doing right now. He's pitching better than he ever has, and he's forgotten more about postseason baseball than Spencer Strider has learned thus far.
All right. So
I mean, that's not.
Here's
even,
where I'm going to push
fact.
back. No, I mean it's not. That's why I'm going to say like Chris Sale's postseason numbers are actually very bad, and he hasn't pitched in the postseason that much. He didn't pitch a ton for the in the postseason for the White Sox when he was the best, and then he was injured most of his time with the Red Sox. So he doesn't actually have a ton. Now
he's got a ring.
Now
he's got the one thing Strider doesn't.
Yeah, but I mean Spencer Strider was pretty damn good in the postseason. Now I'm not disagreeing. I think it's a fair argument
against a dominant lefty Phillies lineup. I mean, I don't know how.
Well, I mean, you're assuming that we're playing the Phillies.
What, are we not going to have to get through the Phillies?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? What if the Dodgers play the Phillies and the Dodgers win? Now the Dodgers have a lot of lefties too. But I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing. I think it's an argument. I mean, I think Spencer Strider, when healthy, may be the best pitcher on the planet. But I think Chris Sale is one of the best pitchers. I think he's a top 10 pitcher on the planet, maybe even top 5 when he's healthy, and he clearly is healthy. Now I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him. I mean, the guy hasn't thrown 150 innings in, 2019. I'm not sure if reeling these guys like Lopez and Chris Sale back in is really the move, because then you have to, get them ramped back up for September and October. I almost think just let them ride. I don't even know if that stuff works. I mean, you see time and time again, pitchers get injured right after, they try to limit their innings and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see what they do. I don't know what the correct decision is. I am not a doctor, but if it was just me, I'm letting these guys ride.
I think you could make a case that they're completely different cases. The Chris Sale's injuries aren't related to fatigue, so to speak, where like Ronaldo Lopez, not his injuries, but like his shortcomings could be due to fatigue. And I think, Ronaldo Lopez's case of limiting innings is much more plausible, putting it into place than Chris Sale. I completely agree with Chris Sale. If he's feeling it, you trust the veteran. The guy's seen a lot of baseball. He's been up, he's been down. Ronaldo Lopez just kind of getting back into the groove on everyday pitching every 5th day. I think maybe you could protect Ronaldo Lopez from himself. And generally speaking, you want to protect players from themselves. Sometimes don't trust them. But I feel like Chris Sale's not. He's his shoulder, his elbow. They were fluke injuries when he was with the Red Sox outside of the Tommy John. So I think both cases are completely different. And I think you could make a case for Ronaldo Lopez. Like, I think that's the main concern. People trying to crown him an ace, and Ronaldo Lopez has, outside of Chris Sale, they're both 1A, 1B in terms of who's been the best pitcher for the Braves this season. But, people ready to crown Ronaldo Lopez an ace are so foolish. It's May, and this guy's never thrown more than whatever amount of innings. I mean, let's just, let's pump the brakes a little bit. We're all excited about him. We all want the best for him. But also, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the Ronaldo Lopez thing a little bit more than Chris Sale. I mean, Chris Sale's a guy that's thrown 200 innings for most of his career when he's been healthy. Ronaldo Lopez hasn't thrown more than 66 innings. And we saw what happened with Bryce Elder. And I know a lot of people will just be like, oh, that's because Bryce Elder's crap. Well, maybe he is crap. We'll find out over his entire career. But, I think a big part of Bryce Elder's struggles later in the season were because he hasn't thrown over 150 innings in a season, and he is a young arm. Now, Ronaldo Lopez has got a lot more experience, but he hasn't thrown over 66 innings, as I said, in 2019. But let's talk about the guy. I mean, Marcell Ozuna just continues to do it, leads Major League in homers with 12. Like I've said a million times, I do not know if there's ever been a turnaround quite like his, at least not as far as the Braves are concerned, considering all that happened off the field, his struggles on the field. Nobody really thought he was even going to make it. And as I say, it's not just the on-field performance. It's the stuff you're hearing out of Brian Snitker. I mean, he said after the game yesterday, 25 of his biggest fans are sitting there in the clubhouse with him. Chris Sale came out and said it. He's a new teammate. He goes and says, the positive energy, everything, the way he comes into the clubhouse. It's just, it's nice to see. And I know some people are always not going to forgive Marcell Ozuna, and that's completely fine. But I can tell you who has, and those are the guys in the clubhouse, and those are the guys that really matter.
Yeah, they're the only people who really matter truly. And I know fans, we think of ourselves as very important, but, and the Braves players would say that we are important. But the reality is as long as you can look your guys, left to right, and they're supporting you, that's truly all that mattered. Because once upon a time, about a year ago, Marcell Ozuna was getting booed in front of his home crowd, and he had to go back to the dugout, and those were the guys who were supporting him. So, it really doesn't matter if you don't like him or not, because the guys in the clubhouse do. And on the field, I mean, it looks like a beach ball, the ball does. It's not just the home runs. It feels like he's hitting everything, and he's hitting everything hard. He's, quite frankly, I know the offense looked a little bit back. I think we are, banging on the door of a complete breakthrough where Riley, Olsen, Acuna, everybody's hitting. We put up double-digit runs, and it feels like it's 2023 again. But Ozuna is just putting this offense on his back, truly. I mean, I know we scored, 6 runs or whatever it was last night, but it just still feels like it's a one-man show out there.
Yeah. Shout out to Austin Riley in the first inning, hustling on that ground ball.
Gold glove, Austin Riley, by the way.
Which ended up giving the Braves that opportunity. I remember when they challenged the play, I looked over. I was at the game, doing this? And I was like, yeah, why are we doing this in the first inning? Then Marcell Ozuna comes up 2 batters later, hits a homer, and Orlando Arcia goes back-to-back. So that was nice to see. Arcia has been struggling, so maybe he's getting out of it.
It is just one of those things you say, Arcia struggles, and then
he
just comes around.
I say, why is this guy hitting 6? All right, he's hitting 6, and he hits a home run in the first inning. And that's what I said before I said it. I said I need to say this because he's going to break out of this right when he does it. So hopefully that is something that's here to stay. Shout out Austin Riley defense. He is a legitimate Gold Glove candidate. I think he has a very good chance of winning it, which is just night and day difference from where he was a few years ago. That's a huge development. And then shout out Jarred Kelenic. I mean, he had a home run robbery. It's his first home run of the season. Big series for him. He's a guy that was struggling, as I mentioned, coming into this series. So if those guys can keep playing well, Marcell Ozuna is obviously playing fantastic. The top 3 in this lineup, they seem to kind of be coming around. It seems like the Braves got a good chance. They go into New York. They have a 3-game set with New York. New York beat them early in the season. Hopefully we can hand them a beating this time around.
Yeah, Kelenic looks good. Got another hit, tacked on another hit last night in the second game against the Red Sox. It feels like, maybe everything's coming around for him. The defense, I mean, we could have multiple Gold Glovers here. It's a very long season, so you never know what happens. But the Braves defense was real ugly there for a week or a week and a half or something. And now it looks like we're just playing lights out defensively, really helping our pitchers there.
Yeah, I mean, that left side of the infield, Arcia and Riley insane. Are both
left side of the
candidates.
Field.
Yeah, Kelenic, I think, will win the Gold Glove out in left field. At least he's the early front runner, I believe. Yeah. And Michael Harris, obviously, one of the best defensive center fielders. And when Sean Murphy gets back, you got one of the best defensive catchers. So, yeah, a lot of guys that could potentially be playing like Gold Glovers this season.